but welcome. We are working on a Subaru, what is it? Subaru Impreza WRX 2011 series. And it came in for a leaky power steering line, which it is not the leaking power steering line. It is the rack and pinion itself, from the top seal where the steering shaft goes into the rack and pinion. That's leaking, coming down and getting on the line that doesn't look like it wants to come off. So we're gonna have some fun with this. This car's out of Oregon originally, so it's not one of our typical Arizona cars that we don't have rust issues. This comes from water, because it doesn't ever sunshine in Oregon. It just waters from the sky. I think they call that rain. I don't know, we're not used to that stuff here. So water, moisture, snow, salt stuff. Good thing is if I had to do that line, I had to pull the rack and pinion anyways, to do that line, because it's just tucked way up in there and it's not friendly to get to. So we're replacing the rack and pinion on this thing. Come along with us. Step one, we're also, while we're replacing the rack and pinion, you know, which contains the inner tie rod ends, we're going to replace the outer tie rod ends, most likely. I doubt that they're in like fantastic shape, so while you have it out, you might as well replace them, because you got to take those off to get the rack and pinion out anyways. So put new ones on. You're already there, and it's like another, like, I don't know, 50, 100 bucks, something like that, you know, $5,240 dollars. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna inspect brakes for them, check all this stuff out while we're in here, see what else they might need. It's again, my chiropractor, same one when we did the Land Rover. It's his kid's car now, and it's having issues. So we'll make sure everything's good underneath it too. Same thing he would do if I was laying on the table getting my back cracked. He'd make sure that everything else is good that he knows about. So that's what I'm gonna do. So first step, we're gonna have to remove the wheels. This guy's got these fancy Koenig wheels, I don't know, these wheels right there. Found the wheel key. That's always fun. The lug key is always hidden somewhere in the vehicle. It's like a really effed up game of Where's Waldo, and we found it in the trunk. I'll tell you this, if you're dropping your car off at the shop, do one of two things if the wheels might have to come off, even if you don't know. Either walk up and go, here's my wheel key, or don't have your paraphernalia in your car, because I'm not saying he does, but I've done plenty of them where you open a trunk and you're like, I don't know if I should be here. Because we're gonna dig through your car to find this. We're going to. That means glove box, center console, trunk, back seats, like I'm gonna find it. And I'm going through everything to find it. Like I do probably a more thorough search than the police do when they suspect you of drugs in your car. So if you don't want people going through your car, have this available, your wheel key, if you have special lug nuts like this. And there's more and more times that people have special lug nuts. So have that available, just a little point for you. I'm gonna get the wheels off. You don't need to watch me do that. And then we'll start tearing into this thing. I'll show you kind of some of the tricks on getting things like tie rod ends loose, getting the rack and pinion out. That's really no trick to that, but there's a little trick that I learned a long time ago about getting the tie rods. Instead of using the old pickle fork, we're gonna use vibrations and brute force and science. All right, I'm gonna get the wheels off, and then you can come back and see. If you can't get wheels off, don't work on your car. Just stop now, phone a friend, go do something else, because wheels are easy to get off. That's the simplest. Just don't worry about it. Okay, for the sake of not, the easiest way to do this is to have your key on. Pull the battery cable, have the key on. That way you can turn the wheel. I'm gonna try to do it without it. It's probably not gonna work, but it'll make it easier for you guys to see too if I could turn the wheel. But we're gonna show you a couple things. First one I'm gonna show you is in here. We're gonna remove this outer tie rod. So I'll bring some light in here. You got a castle nut. This is your outer tie rod right here. Connects to the rack and pinion all the way up in there, runs out here, turns your wheel. Outer tie rod is here. There's a castle nut. They call it a castle nut because it looks like a castle and it's a nut. And it's got a cotter pin. I don't know if you can see that tab sticking up right there. Right there. It's got a cotter pin that obviously is factory because it's bent in like 15 different ways that has been like hammered down, and it's going to be fun to get out. So we're going to straighten the one side, and then down on the bottom there's another side of it, and then you have the hoop over on this side right here by the nut. It's actually inside there, so I'm gonna have to go get a pick or something and bend up the bottom of that. But we'll get this cotter pin out. You'll just bend the two sides, grab it by the hoop side, and then you'll just pull it out. There's nothing to bite on right now, but you might have to get a pair, like I usually use dikes. I just grab onto that hoop side, and then I just use the nut as my fulcrum for leverage. I know a bunch of big science words, but we'll just pop that out of there. I've just got to get it freed up because it's I don't know if it's gonna come out. It will come out, but I just gotta get that bottom one bent up. I didn't realize it was bent down. I try to get ahead of this for you guys, so you're not having to sit here and watch me, but this is how mechanics have dull knives all the time. So I bent up the bottom one, and then the top one I'm gonna try and bend, and I'm gonna see if I can't get the dikes on there and push out this hoop. Sometimes you just can't get to it and you got to get a pick or something like that to get this out. Don't just start hammering on the nut, because yes, you will break that cotter pin, which is fine because we're going to replace it with a new one, but then you can also damage all the threads when you do that. Then you definitely don't want to do that. So let me work on getting this cotter pin out of here. I already hate this car. So the cotter pin fought me the whole way. This is like 4 days later that I'm coming back to do the next step. I'm just kidding. But it did fight me the whole way. I ended up having to cut the hoop end off of the cotter pin and pull it the other way from the legs. So sometimes things just aren't easy, you know? That's just how they go. Anywho, 19mm socket, see? And that's gonna go right on top where you just pulled that cotter pin out. It's gonna go right on that castle nut right there. We're just gonna pull that nut. That's the hope, and we got it. Look at that. That actually came off. Sometimes those like to spin, and then you're in for a whole another treat. So pull both sides off, same thing. This is also why I use an impact gun instead of a wrench, because a lot of times you can eliminate that spinning with an impact gun, where the wrench you're putting that tension on and you're pulling it. It can cause that little socket to spin underneath, and you don't want that. You really don't want that. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything, but it just makes it a pain. Then you got to get a pry bar and put pressure on it and get that nut the rest of the way off. So luckily they both came right off. Imagine that. So let me go grab some other tools here, and we'll get these tie rod ends out, because just because you pulled the nut out doesn't mean your bone hammer is going to make it come out. We got to use a real hammer, and we're going to show you how to do that here in just a second. Hammer time. One of my favorite things about suspension and steering is that you get to just like thrash, man. It's like if you're having a bad day, do some suspension work. You get to just smack the crap out of things. So they do make a tool called a pickle fork, because what we're trying to do is separate the tie rod end from the knuckle, or the whatever you call it. I call that the knuckle. I don't know what you call it. So they do make a tool that's called a pickle fork. It comes into here, and all it does is it gradually gets larger. You can smack that into here. The problem is a lot of times you don't have room, or you end up hitting the backing plate and all that stuff. So there's another way to do it. These are just held in by pressure, and that nut kind of holds it in, but it's a tapered joint in there, and that just kind of, you know, grabs on with pressure. So you'll see I've got a pry bar and a hammer. So I always grab a pry bar because sometimes you need to pry down on these things while you're whacking them. Obviously it's not coming out right now, but because these go down, I shouldn't have to pry on it also. The ones that come in from the top and go up, sometimes you got to put a pry bar, some pressure, and give it a smack, and they'll come out. But this one going down, we should just be able to use gravity. So what I'm going to do is, we've got our tie rod coming in here. and Drew, come in here so they don't smack the wrong spot. We're gonna hit the knuckle where the tie rod bolt is going through the knuckle. We're just gonna smack this. What that'll do is it'll cause vibration to go through there. It'll break free, in theory. It'll break free anything that's holding that in there, any binding. It's just metal on metal, it's pressured in there, so we're just gonna smack that to put vibration through, and it should allow that to just drop out. Should. So we're gonna see. You can step if you want, you can go back, whatever you want. And there you go. You do have to watch from this coming down on your face. Luckily, I've got some sway bar action to catch it. But see, that separated our tie rod, our outer tie rod end from the knuckle by just smacking the knuckle right there. So that's all you got to do. Put some vibration to it. That doesn't just go with this car, that goes with all cars. Anytime you're separating these, you can see the taper on it. And it's tapered, it's got a tapered hole in here too. And that's just what does all the biting and holding. We can see there's no rust, no issues. If there is, sometimes you have to heat these just to get some heat into there to kind of expand that and smack them again. Just be careful. But if this hammer doesn't work, go get the BFH and that'll get it. And that's why a lot of times it's easier if you can turn the wheel too, because then you can actually come to it from the outside instead of underneath, especially if you're working on the ground. Just turn the wheel, turn it all the way driver. It gives you full access to smack the piss out of that thing, and then you turn it back passenger and smack the piss out of it. I like that I'm able to be on a lift and keep it straight, because then when I go back together, I can just go right in and my wheels should already be straight. This is gonna go to alignment afterwards anyways, which you should always do, because we're gonna measure these out. We're gonna make sure the new ones are going on right in the same place. But there's always those little like tenths of an inch that do make a big difference on tire wear. So we're gonna want this to go in for alignment anyways when we're done. So it's not a huge deal, but you also wanna make sure your steering wheel is centered, and that's what we've done. The steering wheel is centered. So when we pull it all apart, we don't have to worry about it. Got it? Get it? Got it? Good? Cool. All right. Man, this is like all instructional. Holy crap. By the way, we're going to be doing some instructionals. Seems like you guys really like those a lot. But we're also going to be getting back to the Jeep. It's sitting right there. It's waiting on my projects. We've just had to go do some other stuff, some personal things that have been going on. And it's taken us away from that project for a little bit. So in the meantime, we're gonna be working on cars like this and showing you guys how to do this stuff. If you don't like it, you're probably not subscribed anyways, which you should be. So just click the button right now and then you'll like it. Whether you like it or not, you'll like it. All right, next thing. We're gonna keep working on this thing. I would like to go get parts, to be honest with you, just kind of a separate thing. I already called, I got parts on hold. Sometimes it's really nice to have the new parts laying here, because then you can see exactly what mounts them, and then you can see exactly what bolts you need to pull. Sometimes like you get into spots and you're like, man, it just feels like there should be one more bolt somewhere, and you can look at the new part and see where that is. I haven't gone and got new parts yet because we're waiting on a special delivery of something we're going to show you guys later. That's it's going to be a project, but it's something I've been wanting for a long time. That is an expensive piece, but I got one for a very good price. But it's going to be a project. I mean, like, when I say a project, it's, I don't know why I do this stuff. Oh, why do I do this to myself, Drew? Why? Anyways, one of the things I'll show you guys real quick too that we already pulled is there's this plate down here. It goes right below the power steering rack and pinion unit. So you can see it's been leaking. It's all juicy. We pulled all those plates. Two of the holes had bolts and nuts, and the rest of them were all just bolts that go right into the frame. One of them was a little goobered. We're going to clean those up before we put them back in because of the rust. But you're gonna have to pull this plate to get it out of your way so you can access the rack and pinion. And I'll show you where that's at. So we know we took the tie rods off already. You've gotten that far. Just follow the tie rods. And that's this unit right here. This whole guy. So that plate sat right here. We took that off last night just to diagnose while the customer was here. But that plate sits right here. Now we can see the rack and pinion. We know these two lines are gonna stay in the car in theory, but they're both connected to the rack. So really all I've got to do is pull them up here. There's two, they connect up in this area up here by the axle. So we've got to pull the line here and pull the line there. And then we should be able to get this rack out fairly, I shouldn't say it because I'm going to jinx it, fairly easily. And all this stuff should come out with it. And then when we go to put the new one in, we can do that on the ground. We can mount these lights or these lines on the ground. And then we just got to connect them up there when we put everything back together. So we'll disconnect these lines up here. We've got 2 bolts here that we need to pull. And we got 2 bolts here that we need to pull. Right here and right here. This is the hoop that's holding the rack in on this side. These 2 go through the rack itself on the body of the rack. So those 2 will go there. And we'll probably need to pull this one because it looks like it's attached to this whole bracket. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts, 2 lines, and this sucker should drop out of here. And we'll have to kind of that to get it out. We'll show you that. So let me grab sockets. Those look like they're 14s. I'll grab sockets and we'll start hammering. Actually, I'm gonna try and get those lines free first. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but we're gonna do our best. They just like to tuck everything in there. And I did spray some juice on them first so that we can lubricate them. Hopefully they come out. Will you guys stop right now, pause the video and say a prayer for me that this comes out? Please, because it's not looking good. Nobody's been in here, except for a lot of salt, clearly. Not as much as some of you other guys though. Like I've seen you guys that are in there where you need a hot wrench for everything. And this stuff is just rotted out. This is just more than I'm used to. And I don't like it. But I'll get over it. We got to do it anyways. Okay. Let me go get tools. Yeah. It's a struggle bus. So like I said, this thing came out of Oregon. So it got some salt and stuff on it. So these lines aren't coming off very friendly. But I've got a 17mm wrench up here on the top to hold that nut in place. I got it pinned against the block. So when I'm rotating the line free, it's not twisting the line. So I got a 17 up on the top. I have this crow's foot. If you don't have one of these, this is gonna be a fun job for you. I'll show you what it looks like here. It's just socket or whatever mounted crow's foot, 14mm. So on the line that's towards the front of the car, the line itself is a 14mm, and the line that it threads into is a 17mm, and this is just kind of one of those like quarter turn at a time type deals. You can probably hear it. It's not happy, but it's coming out. So you just gotta be careful with it. I loosened this one. What I did is I got up on here with this and made sure that 17 was pinned against the block so it wasn't twisting the whole line. And then I just gave a couple smacks on the handle here, kind of gave it that impact. I think I've talked about this before, but an impact is far better than just twisting. And this thing just keeps dripping all over me. Would you stop, please? For the love. Impact is always better. It's a good way to kind of jar them free versus twisting everything up and rounding out a nut. These little flare nuts that are on here are notorious for rounding out. So you really want to try at all costs, like everything you can do, even if you got to cut a wrench, use a line wrench on it. Because the line wrenches, they grip a lot more. We're going to make a mess. Should probably get a pan. Didn't think about that one, did you, Brandon? No. So a line wrench is best. If you have to use wrenches, just be careful. These are really easy to round out. I mean, very, very easy to round out. And once you round one of these out, man, then you're replacing everything, and it really sucks. This other one, we're gonna do the same thing. It's a 19mm on the back side. I think it was a 17 if I remember right on the front side. I wanted that there. It's exactly where I wanted that. Oh man. Yeah, 17mm for the male and a 19mm for the female. I'm gonna go get a line wrench so we can do that one right as well, so we don't break everything. Sometimes you can get in a position too where you can offset these wrenches. So if you've got to turn something and you've got to get this wrench needs to move this way, sometimes you can get the wrench stabbed on the one like this and the other one stabbed over here, where you can get one hand and you can squeeze them together. A lot of times that's the way I'll do it too, is I just offset, and this one here needs to move that way. We can just grab that, you just go, and careful not to pinch your palm, but that's a really good way to get that too. I don't know that we have that room up here because the axle's in the way and I don't feel like pulling an axle. So we're gonna see if we can get this one off, which we should be able to, with a little creativity and a lot of swearing. Because it's just, I mean, they didn't make it friendly. I don't know why. It's supposed to be a friendly brand. I thought these guys were friendly, I don't know. But they're not. They're not friendly with the way they put these cars together, let me tell you. The engineers are just not nice people. If you're an engineer, I'm sorry, you're not a nice person. We're gonna see if this will come free with this, but I doubt it, and we don't want to do damage. Oh, look at that, there I go doubting. It actually came free with a regular wrench. So a lot of times you need a line wrench on those, because these are, they're sensitive. And you've got to be sensitive along with them. And just realize they have feelings. And you can hurt those feelings. So don't hurt the feelings. You know? Just be nice to them. Be careful. I'm going to sit here at this quarter turn at a time and cramp my hand all up, and you know, when you're doing the little pinchy turns, it's crampy. And it doesn't want to turn without some leverage, so it definitely wants the wrench. Sometimes they'll come free, I don't know. But we're gonna get those two off, and then we should be like minutes or seconds or milliseconds away from doing something else, like pulling the rack and pinion actually out of the car. Wouldn't that be cool? Huh? It's like a dance, man. Just like I gotta turn it a little bit, twist the wrench, turn it, twist the wrench, turn it, twist the wrench. Make a little sound down here, you know, and we'll get it. Just play a song for you guys. That's all I'm trying to do here. I'm gonna get canceled on YouTube because the song matches somebody else's song. We're matching. So let me get this line off, and we'll come back and show you guys the rest of removal of this rack and pinion. We got this, and then the steering shaft that we've got to get undone too, because sometimes you kind of get into these jobs, and I've been pulled away about 40 times already today by other things, and sometimes you get into them and you're like, I'm almost done, and then you forgot to pull something important, like, you know, the steering. Don't do that. And I'll show you guys another trick with that to make sure that your steering wheel stays straight. So we'll come right back to here in just a second. All right, so one of the things that I always do, not always, but typically, you don't want that steering wheel to turn on you. Some of these are keyed, a lot of them aren't. So meaning there's like a single spot that the shaft can go into on the rack and pinion and the steering column. So because what we're gonna do is separate the steering wheel from the rack and pinion. That's what you have to do. So what I do is I just grab a ratchet strap, bungee cord, something, come around the steering wheel. I try to go centered on it, and then just come down to underneath the seat. There's a little bar right at the front underneath the seat. Sometimes you have to go down to the pedal, like a brake pedal. The whole key is you want to try and keep it centered, and that way this wheel can turn a little bit, but it's always going to go back to that center point. On this one, if I tighten it anymore, it's going to just honk the horn, because that horn comes all the way down. It's like right there. But ratchet strap just down to the seat, or down to the brake pedal, clutch pedal, something in the middle underneath. You don't need a ton of tension on it. Bungee cord, anything. Keep that wheel straight. That's going to help you out when you get down there, because you can pull that rack of pinion, you can bump it, the steering wheel just is going to be sloppy and be able to spin free. There is a clocking spring inside of these, so if you get them upside down, sometimes you can turn them too far and pop an airbag, and you don't want to do that. So to eliminate that potential issue, simple little fix, right? The other thing is, don't leave the key inside when your windows are up. either roll down the window or have the key outside. Sometimes these stupid cars like to lock themselves. Not just whatever this thing is, but all cars. Sometimes they just get a mind of their own and they lock, and then your keys or your customer keys are inside. So don't forget to do that before we pull the rack. We're gonna go back up in the air and get that steering separated and get the rack out of here. What do you think? We're almost done, guys. We're home. I mean, we're like right there. I'm talking, we're right there. It looks like a pain. Even the camera's sweating. Just, God, why? You're supposed to be cloudy. Jeez. All right, now we got it back up in the air, or you're back on your piece of cardboard in the dirt. Gotta pull this bolt right here, right up there. So your steering shaft comes down here, goes through this rubber, I forget what they call it, who cares, it doesn't matter. It goes down through the U-joint and onto here. This bolt goes all the way through, so you have to pull it completely out. It's not just a bolt that clamps, it actually has a keyway underneath there with like a little concave cutout on the steering shaft itself. On this style, some of them have splines, they're all different. But this one definitely, we got to pull that bolt all the way out. But now we know that the whole column isn't going to turn. It's going to hang out where it needs to. So we'll grab that bolt out, and then we just got a couple more bolts down below, and this thing should be on its way out. Should. And you'll see there's markings on them. A lot of times when you put something like this back in, this is a major safety issue. You want to make sure that bolt's not backing out. So a lot of times when I'm done, I'll actually mark that bolt again with a different color pen. That way, if it comes back in, I can look and see, or I can tell the customer if they happen to be one that works on their own crap. I can tell them, hey man, I made a yellow marking. Just when you're under there, double check it, make sure it's straight, it hasn't loosened up. That's the point of those markings, but we'll get that out. We'll separate the steering column and pull a couple bolts, and this thing will be coming out. Right on? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That was actually gonna be friendly. How about that? See, if I didn't strap that steering wheel down, that whole thing would have just spun. Or would have at least tried to. We don't want it to. I don't want it. Put that right there where I can promptly lose it. You know, make sure you put stuff where you can lose it. And let's just hope that comes free when we get all the rest of this loose. That socket's not going to fit on there because it's the wrong one. Right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, here. And that sucker's out. That's always a nice thing to know. Told my chiropractor yesterday, I said, I don't know why I always need a chiropractor. As he was watching me do this, oh, that feels like it just popped my arm out of socket. Jeez, I am really just out of shape, man. That one like hurt actually. Like that one. Is my shoulder still there? What a crybaby. These are locked in there, man. Shoot, I already forgot. Dang it. Which one will where? One of the things you can do, and I've shown you guys this before, if you're one of those guys that forgets, you can look at that and go, oh, that one came out of that hole, and that one came out of that hole, that one came out of that hole, and that one came out of that hole, and now you know where they all go back in. And just set it down. Probably not on the ground right in your way like I do, but you know. And then like this one's directional. See, it's got that little cut on there. So you can remember which direction it went on if you want, by laying it down the way it comes out. And now you know you pick it up and go right on, you know? Just these little things. And we'll see if that wants to come out of the steering column. And see if it wants to come loose. Let's see. Oh, it moved a little bit. Dumped stuff all down my arm. watch out for that. When the fan isn't helpful. It's just blowing it everywhere. What we really just need to do is get this free. There we go. So now we're free. So we got the knuckle off here. It's a little dangle wobbles. And you can see we're splined with the notch all the way around. So that actually could go back on in just about any position. Watch your head there, Drew. He's smacking his head on the lift. Being 6'4" sucks when the lift only goes up to 6 foot. So we're gonna see how much juice we can get on our arms here, and how we can wiggle wobble this thing out of here, and hopefully, by the grace of God, this comes out. What is going on? What is holding you up? Oh, we can rotate it like that. We'll just let it do its thing for a second. Okay. It's done its thing. I may have to pull these outers off, because it's a wow. I mean, it's kind of there, kind of. If it'll let me come over just a little bit. Then I may be able to get it out. And there you have it. Simple as that. You got it out. All right. Good? Okay, perfect. That's the whole thing right there. That's the whole kit and caboodle. What we'll do is we'll take some wrenches and we'll pull these jam nuts loose right here on both sides and swap those over. But what we want to do is get a measurement. There's 2 ways you could do that, 3 ways. One, you can get a measure tape and just see how far it is. Number 2, you can take the jam nut loose and count the threads as you pull these off, and in theory, the new one should thread on the exact same amount of threads. So you use your tie rod as your little counter. You start here and you go around 1, 2, 3, 4, and then unthread those. Or lastly, if you have another jam nut, if the new one comes with the jam nut, then you could just simply build the other one and lay it on top of this one. Make sure they're the same length, jam it together, and go back up in the hole. Those are those 3 main ways you can do that. I'm gonna go take a look at the new one and see if it's comes with the jam nuts. Well, there is an O-ring on that one. Interesting. Okay. Shoot, man, shoot. Okay. New one, old one, clearly, right? We can see that it was definitely leaking up here. For sure, for sure, for sure. Oops, sorry. Bumping into you there. You can... Dang, that one got me good. The wrong tube. Anywho, we can see that it's all wet and it was leaking up there. That's not wanting to come off. My rag's missing. My brain is fried. My armpits are melted. Okay. This one does not have those 2 lines on it that were underneath, and we pulled them from up above because it makes it easier to pull the rack than trying to pull them from here when it's up in the car. So we need to pull these 2 lines off down here, swap them over to this unit, figure out what else is holding them on there. Looks like there might be one bracket right here, so it's just a bolt here to take this bracket off, and we'll just swap those lines over to this one. We got to move this rubber over. That guy's just going to go right on there, and then this clamp, those 2 lines, we'll swap it all over. All the other lines are built into it, And what we'll do is we'll make a little mark or measure these out. These are clearly tighter than these. So those inners were getting worn out, the outers were getting worn out. So it's a good time to just do it all while you got it apart. So I'm gonna pop these two lines off. I'll take this one little 10 mil off. This one is, I believe, is 17. Is that a 17? Yeah, 17 on the top. I believe the bottom is a 14, if I recall, but I'll verify that and let you know once I get these apart. So let me hammer on these. Again, what I'm just gonna do here, let me move this out of the way. What I'm gonna do just here, I'm just gonna hold this. I got my line wrench securely on there, and I'm just gonna give it hopefully a couple whacks, see if it comes off. Maybe I have to pin it against the steering shaft. Oh wait, I'm tightening it. That's why it's not coming off, because I'm going the wrong way there. Why didn't you tell me? I'm in reverse, okay? Leave me. He's always talking crap, man. Well, that line's nice and tight now, because, you know, I just tightened it more, because I'm smart like that. It's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Look at that. It comes loose when you go the right way. Normally I'd be standing in front of this thing, but Drew is with that camera, so you guys can see exactly every way that I'm messing up, because I'm good at that. I don't know if I'm good at working on cars, but I'm good at messing up. And when you're good at something, by golly, do it. Do it all you can. All right, one line. Let's see if we can get that other one off. I think that wrench is right here. Look at that. So we'll get that one out of the way so we're not jarring it, messing it up. This one is a 14, as I thought. Again, line wrench. So it's encapsulating as much of that, goes over the line, comes across, and then we're gonna try and just get that one free without messing up that other line, hopefully. That's the idea. Now you can use a little mallet for this, so you're not, you know, ruining your hands. But what's the fun in that? You know, just ruin your fingers and your hands while you're at it. Use the palm. You got a lot of meat there. That's the bone hammer. You know, bone hammer is good for something. God gave you that for a reason, and this may or may not be that reason. I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned right now, that's the reason. Now, if my tools were right next to me, I can get just a regular 14 on this at that point and loosen this instead of trying to deal with this line wrench thing. Line wrenches are, man, they're handy, but they're also a pain sometimes to get on. Especially when you have a slightly rusty bolt or nut, as this one is. Because you've got to be the right angle, you got to be the right direction. You just got to do a lot of things right, and we already discussed how I am about that. I like to do things backwards. So, oh, I can't wait for you guys to see the new thing that I got today. It's gonna be cool. I'm really excited about it. I was actually pleasantly surprised, because when Drew saw it, I was like, dude, you haven't even seen this thing that I bought yet. And he's just always kind of like, oh crap, what did you get? You know, another car with no doors and a bunch of dents, or what, like what? And he was actually like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought. Which means I done good. And you guys are gonna like it, because we're gonna get to have a lot of fun with it. It's not a toy. It's a piece of equipment. And you have to respect it as such. Okay? But I can't wait for you guys to see it. We're gonna wait to show it to you, because we gotta figure out what exactly all it needs. I know exactly what I'm doing with it. We're gonna turn it into a rock crawler. No, we're not. But it's gonna make my life a lot easier, because Guido, the old forklift, well, Guido struggles sometimes out there in the dirt. All right, need a 10 mil for that guy. And that'll free that up. And then, yeah, we can get that off of there. Let me grab a 10 mil. So this little guy here is just his 10 mil, holds his clamp on. This is what clamping these hoses to the stuff. Little Jed clamp it. And if any luck, nope. Okay. If any luck, it'll fight us the whole way. Now again, you need to be a little bit careful of this line because you are going to reuse this. If you do notice this one leaking, I would replace that. This does have crimps right here. This other one's a solid metal line. It should not really ever leak. Just stripping this thing down. That's all we're doing. Just stripping away. Some might say I'm a stripper. I'm not. Okay. There we go. That's off. Now we should have everything off of here. Sometimes, rarely, but sometimes you have to replace these grommets. They should all come in, the new ones. But sometimes there's this weird stuff and you gotta push these out. Just don't even worry about it. New one. Let's make sure we get some of the old grease and stuff on it. Because, you know, then it feels at home when it goes in there. Yep. Okay. Plugs. Plugs on this that we got to get out, which means this was tested, tried and true. Is that one going to come out nice, or do we need pliers? Or a wrench. Those two come out. This guy goes right back on from whence it came. Just take that same bracket, you know, bend it a lot, snap it, break it, put it back together. Get these lines in. There we go. Maybe wait to put this guy on. I don't know. You know, so we can get these started at least. Because these things, man, they are finicky. Let me tell you. So while those are loose, I'll put this bracket on, hopefully. Sheesh. There we go. I got it. Little conversation never hurts, right? So I'll tighten that guy back down. Again, this one's a 10 millimeter. This should, in theory, line right up when you put it back in the car, because this bracket should keep these lines where they belong. Should make everything happy. And should be using a socket on this because it would be done already. And I got limited time, guys. I gotta get to church. Go volunteer with the high school group over there at the church. Matter of fact, just started volunteering over there at the church, the high school group, and the guy that I'm shadowing, this is his kid's car. I don't know if you even care about that, but I do, and that's all that matters, you know, because I'm the one doing this. Now make sure that this is not cross-threaded. That's why I started them by hand, because it's very easy to cross-thread these, like super easy. Start these by hand, okay? This is very soft metal that these are made out of, and you can cross-thread them very easily. These and brake lines and all that stuff, man, it is just, and once you cross-threaded it, you're done. You ain't fixing that. You're replacing on it. Torque setting on this is Guten tight. Click. Perfect. Not too tight. You don't want to, you know, smash it. See, start it by hand. Just use your fingers. I can see it getting shorter, so it means it's threading in there. And actually, this one's being real friendly. Look at that. It's letting me go almost all the way. I'll be a son of a gun. Wow. Flip that one back over. We'll use the right side. 16 doesn't fit on the 17 nut. And then, remember I was telling you about that little pinchy idea earlier? Oh, we can do that right now. Possibly. Let's see here. I'm going to use the steering shaft and the wrench. I'll give it a little bit of a go past. I should be able to get right here. And I can just kind of grip it good. And we'll get them tight. We should be about ready to go back in. We're just gonna set the tie rod ends on. And this thing's gonna be a champion. I mean, just a champion. When we're done, this thing's gonna be leaking everywhere. 'Cause that's what we were, no wait, it was leaking. It should be not leaking everywhere when we're done. You're gonna cut that out, right, Drew? Perfect. All right. Well, this one doesn't come with jam nuts. We got a couple options that we can do. Since we have a workbench, I might just take the other one and make 2 marks on the table and then just set this up between them. It's not a bad idea, right? And then we need the same length. We'll do that. That way I don't have to do measure taping and all that stuff, man. That's brain stuff that I don't really want to deal with. So I'm literally gonna just pin this against the basket, which is already pinned. And then I'll come over here. We'll get a little piece of tape. Make a mark. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's going in for alignment anyways. And that's the outside of that. You guys can see outside edge of my tie rod end, and I'm pinned against over here. And if I have them both on the ground or both laying flat, we should be good, right? All this is just theory stuff. We're gonna figure that out ourselves the hard way. And this is not a 10mm wrench that goes on that. It's much bigger. Did you know that a 19 and a 3/4 are basically the same? Did you know that? I just learned that yesterday. If yesterday was like 12 years ago. So just loosen this jam nut up. Oh yeah, she's got some water in there, bud. Oh yeah, bud. And we're just after this jam nut. Because why give a new one with the new part? That would just be ridiculous. I mean, an extra freaking 10 cents would have killed somebody, I'm sure. I don't get it. Again, you can sit here and count these turns if you wanted to also. 1, 12, 16, 42. Or just take it off and do what we did where we marked the table. Jeez, old Pete's there, bud. Guess it's better than it being jellied on there, huh? You get it? Jelly, no? Okay. I'll just keep doing this. All you gotta do is just take the jam nut off. And do it again on this side. Now let's see if we can get this guy off. What do you think? Is that gonna come off nice? Oh, man. Why? Why do you get, oh, I got an idea. Drew, I got an idea. We're gonna have some fun. Okay. Wrong one though. I need the right size socket. That usually helps. Man, I definitely need food. Can one of you guys go grab me some food real quick? You mind? Cool, thanks. Oh, when even that won't work? That's a problem. Oh, we might have a problem here, folks. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. That jam nut is both jammed and nutted. All right, I'm gonna try and get that thing off. I might have to throw this in the vise and just hammer on it. Manufacturers, just come with a new jam nut, please. Let me throw this one away. It's done its job. It's run its course. Would you please, for the love of everything, just come with a new one? Seriously. Okay, we got it off. I just tilted the thing. Actually, here, come with me. I'll show you what I did. You guys get a little sneak peek at the room we're building. I just hung it in the vise and clamped down as hard as I could, and then I put the impact gun on, and it was like, I was like, really? Seriously? Honestly? Like, that's what I had to do, is just get mad at you and piss you off? First time using the room. This used to be my carrot lounge, where we'd sit and enjoy carrots and watch movies. You guys know what carrots are? Probably not. Okay, jam nut is off. Put a little bit of anti-sneeze on here for the next guy, right? Which is hopefully not me. We're just gonna thread the jam nuts back on there. I'm gonna put them all the way up towards the top. Hopefully, we'll just get these guys on there, and we'll put the new tie rods on here. And we're on the home stretch, guys. We're almost there. You know, sometimes it just takes a little bit longer. For you guys, this is quick. Some of you guys, you say I talk too much. You're right. Other guys say, I like how much you talk. You're right. Doesn't matter. If you don't like it, there's other channels. But we appreciate you watching this one. We really do. Seriously, I don't say that facetiously. I say that honestly, from the bottom of my shoes. No, heart. I say that because we do. We really appreciate it, and you know, this stuff's fun. I'm glad we get to help some people out and get some work done, and then hopefully it helps you guys out too. You know? Okay. Enough of the sappy crappy. You crying yet? I am. Just a little bit inside every day. This is the truth of why I got it off. What's this one? Ghost? Ghost Energy. You know, not a sponsor. But could be. If they wanted to. One of you guys know somebody from them? Shoot this over to them and say, hey, this guy's an idiot, but he wants you to sponsor him. All right, drumsticks. We're gonna stab those on there. We already got some anti-sneeze on here, so we're just gonna thread them on. Sometimes you have a right and a left, sometimes you don't. Remember, we gotta count them. 12, 14, 20, 3, half, 76. I'm going about that far. Slide this all the way over to where we said we were gonna do it. And then we're gonna thread this one on. The whole idea is that when we're done, they both are threaded on about the same amount, which we can look at how many threads are remaining. And we should be pretty stinking close. So, push that down, push that down, push it against the basket. We're almost there. Pretty dang close, I'd say. I kind of like it. And if we look at the threads on both sides, we got about an equal amount of threads on both sides, sticking from where we were putting the wrench to the jam nut, from the wrench to the jamming nut. We're pretty dang close to about the same amount of threads. You can be off by a little bit. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just need room for some adjustment. The adjustment's can be very little. We know that these go up. Steering shaft goes up, so this is going to sit up in the vehicle like this. These are going to go there. I'm not going to jam these all the way down until we're in the vehicle, because we're going to need to turn them just a little bit to get them in. So we'll pull the castle nut off to get it out of our way and throw it on the ground. And, you know, because who needs that? It'll stay in by inertia or some osmosis or something like that, you know. Just happy thoughts. The nice thing about using anti-seize is it gets everywhere. You kind of turn into Silver Surfer after just a little bit. Which, I mean, who doesn't like Silver Surfer? He's a surfer and he's silver. You gotta like that. If you don't, you are un-American. Okay, we're gonna go back in. Our job here is done. We have, which surprisingly enough it came with, the new cotter pins. They're in that bag right there. See that little pin right there? I don't know if you can see that. They're right there. Gave birth to it. It's right there. And those are gonna go through the holes with the can, you know, those little difficult things we pulled out earlier. That's them. Came with new ones. They've got to be replaced because you bent the crap out of the other ones pulling them out. You know? So let's go jam this thing back in there. It comes out, or it goes in. What is that? Hey, found another tool. That one's rusty and crusty. Oh, sorry. It goes in the same way it came out. Like a royal pain in the butt. But you can get it in there. So if you want, you can stop right here. Okay, quick side note. I was talking to you about the O-ring kits. This is one, I've had this forever. I think we got it from Harbor Frigate. But I mean, I've literally had this forever. The kit is, it's like falling apart. But it's got all the different size O-rings in it. And all we did was just match them up. These new ones are just a little bit thicker than the old ones, which is fine. But just right here, just took them off, matched them up. They're pretty stinking close. And then just carefully put them on here. Put a little bit of lubrication so they don't, you know, they'll roll nice. And just slid it on there. Same with this one. Just, you know, careful not to, you know, break them. But just slide them on. If you can, make sure they're not rolled, you know, because you can put them on and they'll roll. So just careful not to do that. But, you know, the whole idea is that they'll be in there and they'll crush down. I also put a little bit of lubrication on this. I've been kind of just sitting here working it back and forth with some WD-40. It seems to be going good enough that I could, you know, hopefully start it by finger. If not, we're gonna have some fun. That's just all it is. So, 2 old O-rings off. These are, you can feel them. They're hard, they're brittle. So the 2 guys are off, 2 new ones on, and then we'll get this hung in the car. Once we get it up there, we'll make sure the tire rods are where they need to be. And mum's the word. Voila. Hoo hoo. Au revoir. All those things, you know. Notice how it's not flopping. Think those inners were worn out? Why? Oh. Yep. What are you up on now? Just, why? Just go. Just go back to your home. Just make these things so easy. There we go. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Found out. And we're done. No. No, we're near. We're near. We are near. Near and dear. Oh, who lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob Circle Pants. Okay, where did that go? You don't go there. You go down here. Don't forget your brackets now. And really, it just kind of goes back together very simply. So easy. Just like peanut butter, like really, really cold peanut butter. It's got this little titty on this gasket that, you know, can be helpful because it kind of holds it in there. All right, so I'm gonna snug these up just so the rack doesn't move. I'm not gonna tighten them all the way. We'll come back and tighten them. But I kind of want it up in place so I can hook up these two lines up here, because these are the major pain. We already hooked up the steering column, I think. Yeah, it's in. So that's on. As we were putting it in there, we slipped it into the joint there. Oh, and I remember what that part was called. Remember that rubber piece I was telling you about? I remember now. It's called a rag joint. At least that's what they called it back in the day, because it was pretty much a rag back in the day. And it's a joint. Not like the joints of today or of the 70s. A connection joint. So it's called a rag joint. Imagine that. What a great name, right? What a great name. What a great day to be alive. Okay, you're in there. I got you. Hold on there, buddy. I'll hold your hand while we do this together. Just put everything loose. Doesn't need to be tight right away. You don't put one bolt in and hammer it down. You put one bolt in, put another one in, get them all loose, because stuff's gonna have to move. You know, see, that one's not lining up quite right. And if you hammer them all in, you just never get that done. So just start them. I think we just need to move the rack just a little bit. There's not. Would you just, you know, stay where you're supposed to stay? Namaste, my friend. Okay. There's honestly not a lot of room for these things to move. But I think it just needs to move that little bit. See? That's all it needed. It's a little motivation. Just a little talking to. Now again, if you're in the little rusty areas, I'd recommend putting some anti-sneeze on these. Look at that. All brandy new and pretty and fancy. Oh, it's messy back here too. I can see one of us putting our head into that. Now for these guys. For my next trick, we gotta line these guys up. And let's hope that this one still lets me spin it. It's the big hand problem. This one wanted to go home and the other one said, nope, I'm running away. It's just a really bad angle. The hand is cramping. You know, all this stuff. If I could just get an arm up above it. Can't get in there, can't get in there, can't get in there. Okay. It actually might be started. It's just a bad angle is all it is. And clean up, you know? Don't put it back dirty. Clean up after yourself. All right, and then we have this guy to put in. Don't forget your steering, okay? Oh, I was gonna show you that notch. This goes right back in. It's already started up right away. It just fits in perfect. We'll tighten that down. Let me show you the notch. Let's go to the old one real quick. Wherever we put it. Where did I put it? Oh, it's in here still. So here's your splines. That's what keeps it all together. Keeps it from rotating on here. Here's your notch. And that goes all the way around. Your bolt, when it goes through, slides alongside that notch and it allows it so that steering shaft can't pop off of there. Simple, right? Just a notch and splines. Simple stuff, easy peasy. And when you bolt it down, it does clamp, but it also keeps it from popping out, okay? I told you I'd show you, so I'm showing you. Gotta get my tools anyways. I think Drew brought them out. Or put them away, one of the two. Who knows? Get this out of the sun. Woo! 17, 14, 19. Line wrench. Hammer for the forehead. Perfect. Oh, what was the size of that other one? 12? And the 12 we need to get to. We need that 12 millimeter metric meter sockets. We'll get that in a second. But as far as this guy is concerned, that was my 14. And carefully now, just to make sure it is actually on there. And it is actually started and you're not cross-threading. Careful now. Pay attention. Does it feel like it's minor binding? Man, as soon as you feel that little bit of bind, back off and double check it. You do not, I know I've said it like 400 times, you do not want to cross thread these. All right, well, I can finish that up. You guys don't need to watch me do that. The last part of this, guys, is very simple. It's gonna be right here. Tie rods, they just go up in there. You can bend them, you can move them, you know, wiggle wobble, put them in here. And they're just gonna go right up in here. Slide them in, put your castle nut on top, hammer it down, and then put your cotter pin in. When you put the castle nut up, you'll have to, probably get a wrench because it doesn't always line up perfect at the hole. So you'll have to turn it a little bit, get it lined up with the hole that's drilled into the tie rod. See that hole right there? Right here. Yeah. You'll have to line up the castle nut with that, slide your cotter pin through. Me personally, I just bend one of the tangs on the cotter pin. You don't need to bend them both like the factory does. That is just really forking annoying. Just take the long side, there's a long and a short side, take the long side, put it on the top, slide it through, grab that cotter pin, and you can do it by hand. Whoop, just bend it over. All that does is keep the castle nut from spinning. That's it. There's no weight, there's no nothing else on it. It's very simple. That's all you gotta do. And then you're all back together. Put the wheels and tires back on, and then go to alignment. Please, for the love of God, go to alignment, okay? You don't know. You can measure tape it all you want, but get it dialed in straight. Save yourself on the tires. The little $100 or $120 they charge you for alignment will save you a lot of money on tires. Trust me. So that's about it for installing a rack and pinion on a WRX. They're about the same on any other vehicle, just some are more of a pain than the others. But that's about it. We'll put the plate back on here when we're done and bleed the system, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. So I appreciate you guys following, subscribing, checking us out. Hopefully this helped you. Hopefully you're entertained. I don't know. I'm dirty and hot. So if you're entertained and cool, you're in a better place than me. So love you guys, appreciate you. Subscribe, like the video, comment. Tell me if you see something I'm doing wrong, or some of you guys have been really cool lately too. Like, hey man, I really appreciate the video. It helped me a lot. I love hearing that. That helps us out. It lets us know we're on the right track for you and what you need. So appreciate you guys. I'm gonna go back to tighten this stuff up, and up, and up. And hopefully eventually we go down the road again. Appreciate you guys. See you later. Bye. Go to the, I was just talking about you need to go to the gym because they can't get the, can you get that off muscles?
Which part?
The nut needs to come off of that. Watch, she just like puts her hands on it until all front threads right away. I'm just kidding. It's on there. I've been putting the impact on there and like hammering the W under. You got your finger dirty. Oh. Have fun at the gym, my girl, my daughter, my amazing child.
Yeah.
Is that what you're going to the gym wearing Birkenstocks?
No. Just wrapping your shorts.
Yeah, go. Yeah, my shorts. So she likes to steal my shorts.
They love you.
Love you too. Can you just come off? Please?